Colleagues, the agenda for this meeting has been distributed. Could I please invite you to adopt the agenda? Are there any objections? None? Thank you. The agenda is adopted. Colleagues, we made good progress yesterday, but still have a lot to do. The committee is meeting this morning and then in the afternoon at 4:30 in this room. And tomorrow we now have 2 meetings. We are meeting at 9 a.m. in the Rumeli A1 room, you know, another room, and again 11:30 a.m. in the Rumeli room also. Colleagues, in light of numbers of amendments, I shall continue to impose strict limits on speaking time. I shall therefore propose for the amendments or amendments to speak for maximum 1 minute. I shall then allow the same time to an opponent of the amendment. I shall then ask the sponsor of the draft resolution, Mrs. Abramikieni, for her opinion. Following that, I shall put the amendment to the vote. Can I remind you that they must have the correct blue voting card in order to vote in the committee? And then I will go into the list. Amendment number 27, 28, and 29 are all in the paragraph 9. We will take these 3 amendments together. And I will call Mr. Guminsky of Belarus to propose the amendment number 27. Sir, you have the floor.
Я благодарю вас, господа председатель. Уважаемые коллеги, мы предложили пункт 9 добавить во всех 3 измерениях безопасности ОБСЕ, в том числе в области политической и военной безопасности, экономического и экологического сотрудничества, демократии и прав человека, и подчеркивает в этом отношении важную роль парламента. Мы полагаем, что продолжение мониторинга выполнения государствами, участниками обязательств в рамках ОБСЕ в области демократии и прав человека крайне важно, как и роль парламента в этом процессе. Вместе с тем, нам не стоит забывать и о других обязательствах, в том числе в области военно-политической безопасности, которой непосредственно посвящена рассматриваемая резолюция, а также экономико-экологической деятельности. Считаем, что принятие предлагаемой поправки позволит сделать резолюцию более сбалансированной, увязать ее с инициативами в рамках процесса Хельсинки плюс 40. Призываем поддержать эту поправку.
Thank you. And now I call Mr. Dulitsi from Georgia to propose Amendment 28. You have the floor, sir.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Mr. Dolidze is not at this moment here, but you said the 28? Yeah, 28. So it's a very short proposal before democracy insert conflict resolution. I mean, if it's acceptable, then I guess you will decide it. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I call Mr. Onan from Turkey to propose Amendment 29. Sir, you have the floor. Maybe another one from Turkey?
Mr. Onan not here, and we want support or proposal.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against Amendments 27, 28, or 29? No one? Envilia, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear colleagues, I agree that from the very beginning, our organization has been working on 3 dimensions of security. but I wouldn't like to downtown the human dimension. And I think the wish of Mr. Guminski has been very well realized in the amendment number 29 by Mr. Onen of Turkey. And the amendment of Mr. Dolidze is very valuable as well. My proposal would be not to agree with the amendment number 27, not to adopt, but to adopt another two, and the wish which has been expressed by Mr. Guminski would be realized.
Thank you, Vilja. And now I shall put Amendment 27 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 27 please raise your voting cards? Will those against please raise their voting cards? Abstentions? Okay. It's adopted. And then means the other two falls. And then we will go into Amendment 30. Amendment 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 are all in the paragraph 10, and so we will debate these together. If Amendment 31 is carried, then Amendment 32, 33, and 34 will fall. I call Mr. Gigamoya of Armenia to propose amendments 30, 31, 33, and 34. Sir, you have the floor.
Уважаемая председательствующая, мы вносим поправки, слово «приветствует» заменить словом «отмечает», и 33-ю поправку вместо слов «призывает парламенты» словами «предлагает парламентам». Эта поправка обусловлена тем, что Армения, как и ряд других государств, не голосовали за принятие Генеральной Ассамблеи ООН данной резолюции в силу объективных, на наш взгляд, обязательств. Так что вот эти поправки мы готовы снять. Если полностью будут приняты поправки, значит, предлагаемые делегацией России, имеется в виду 31-я поправка. Спасибо.
Thank you. And I will call
President, point of order, please.
Point of order from
Greece.
Greece.
If I may have 1 minute. It is true that if one amendment contradicts another and the first becomes accepted, then by logical necessity and by our rules of procedure, the second will follow. But this should not apply if amendments relate to the same paragraph, but they do not concern the same wording and they do not contradict one another. If they amend something different in the same paragraph. So in my view, and if you just check the wording of Amendment 30, at least 32 and 33, they are not contradicting each other. They amend different issues addressed in the same paragraph.
Thank you. Just a minute. I try to solve this out. We changed the minds, and if we go first on number 30, and then on number 31, and then on number 32 and 33, if 31 is adopted. Is that right?
If 30 is adopted?
Yes, if 30 is adopted,
Then
we go
32
on
and
32
could still be adopted.
and 33.
Yeah.
So you're right. Thank you very much. And now I will call anyone to speak against Amendment 30, 31, 32, and 33 and 34. Is that for number 30? Okay, Uta, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. It seems that all of the colleagues who have amendments on this paragraph don't very much appreciate the Arms Trade Treaty. But I think the majority of nations have appreciated it in the United Nations Assembly, and I think it's a very good progress because arms trade will have a new criteria like human rights and other things. And I think that's a big step which is going to help stop arms races in an unproportionate way. So I think we should leave the text as it is and not do any changes there. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we go against voting. Anyone that wishes to... What do I say?
The rapporteur?
No. Yes, of course. Lilia.
I agree with Ms. Uta Zapp that amendment number 30 weakens the point, and we shouldn't weaken this paragraph.
Thank you. I shall now put Amendment 30 to the vote. Will all those in favor of paragraph number 30 please raise your voting cards now? And those against? Abstentions? Yes. It's defeated. Thank you. And now we will vote for a group of amendments. And we start with number 31. And if 31 is defeated, adopted, the other ones will fall. Will all those in favor of Amendment 31 please write their voting cards now?
But it hasn't been introduced.
Oh, it hasn't.
No, you have to call on Mr. Kavalyov to introduce it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I call Mr. Kavalyov from
The Russian
Federation to talk about it. Sir, you have the floor.
Спасибо, госпожа председатель. На наш взгляд, поправка направлена на усиление документа и прежде всего на повышение транспарентности и защиты прав человека. Это одна из основных задач ОБСЕ, и нам представляется, что эта поправка лишний раз это подчеркивает. Мы попросили комитет поддержать нашу поправку.
Thank you. Anyone that want to speak against? Uta again, you have the floor.
This amendment doesn't strengthen the argument and doesn't support what we have decided just with Amendment 30, but it weakens the whole thing, so please reject it.
Thank you. And now I will call Mr. Vodiaris from Greece, and you will talk about Amendment 32.
Thank you. We propose this amendment only in order to stick to the exact wording of the Arms Treaty. Now, in the Arms Treaty, first of all, it is specifically mentioned that it is not the industry in general, though I think it is quite clear that it is the arms industry that this is the text is referring to. But we just clarify that it's not the industry or an industry, it is the arms industry. And we add an important point which is comprised in the preamble of the UN Arms Treaty, which is the respect of the international humanitarian law. In that way, I think we are making the text more clear, and we completely adapt it to the Arms Treaty text.
Thank you. And anyone want to speak against? No? Okay. Then I call Mr. Gegamia from Armenia to speak about Amendment 33. You have the floor, sir. And 34, if you like to. You have the floor.
К сожалению, после непринятия поправки 30 нет целесообразности ставить следующую поправку на голосование, потому что самое главное не было учтено. Мнение меньшинства. Меньшинством голосов на Генеральной Ассамблее ООН эта резолюция была отвергнута. И чтобы делегатов парламентских ассамблей ряда стран не сложилось превратное мнение, Армения голосовала против лишь по одной причине, потому что действующий и принятый этот договор абсолютно не снижает накал милитаризации экономики Азербайджана, которая ежегодно на покупку вооружений тратит столько же денег, каков бюджет Армении, свыше $3 миллиардов. Спасибо.
Thank you. And now I give the word to Vilja.
Okay. Dear colleagues, I'm asking for your attention now. There were several amendments proposed. Amendment 31 by Mr. Kovalov of Russia, Amendment 32 by Mr. Voridis from Greece, and Mr. Gegamyan withdraw his amendments. I think that proposal of Mr. Varidis, Amendment 32, can be treated as a compromise, because I cannot agree with the Amendment 31 by Mr. Kovalov and to delete all this paragraph, but Mr. Varidis maybe made a good job by helping us to find a common solution. So, my proposal is I'm voting against Amendment 31 and for amendment of Mr. Voridis. And I would treat it as a compromise.
So I shall put this on the voting, and we start with number 31. Those in favor of this Amendment 31, please raise your cards now. And against number 31? Abstentions? It's defeated. Thank you. And now we go into Amendment 32, and we will vote on it. And those in favor of the Amendment 32, please raise your cards now. Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And now 33 and 34 is withdrawn. And now we go on amendment number 35. And I will call Mr. Guminsky from Belarus. You have the floor, sir. And now I have to find it.
Уважаемые коллеги, наша делегация предлагает включить новый пункт после пункта 10. Отмечает роль ОБСЕ в дополнении глобальных усилий по предотвращению распространения оружия массового уничтожения и относящихся к нему материалов, и в частности ее вклад в содействие имплементации в регионе ОБСЕ резолюции Совета Безопасности ООН 1540 2004 года в тесной координации с соответствующими структурами ООН. Полагаем, что с учетом своего уникального мандата и географического охвата ОБСЕ могла бы внести весомый вклад в усилия международного сообщества по предотвращению распространения оружия массового уничтожения и относящихся к нему материалов. Считаем, что принятие предлагаемой поправки позволит усилить роль ОБСЕ и ее парламентской ассамблеи в вопросах, связанных с предотвращением нераспространения оружия массового уничтожения, повысить значимость парламентов в вопросах военно-политического сотрудничества. Призываем поддержать эту поправку. Спасибо.
Does anyone wish to speak against Amendment 35? No one? And Rapporteur, please.
I agree.
Oh, that was a quick one. I shall now put Amendment 35 to the vote. Those in favor of the Amendment 35, please raise the voting cards now. Thank you. Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. Amendment number 36. There we have the Amendment 36, 37 and 38. They are all in paragraph 11, and so we will debate these together. If Amendment 36 is carried, then Amendment 37 and 38 will fall. And I start with Mr. Kovalev from Russia to propose Amendment 36. You have the floor, sir.
Спасибо, господин председатель. По сути дела, это продолжение той огромной работы, которую ОБСЕ проводит по укреплению безопасности, доверия, и поправка направлена на как раз решение этих задач и этих проблем. Нам кажется, что редакция усиливает документ, поэтому мы бы просили поддержать эту поправку.
Thank you. And I call on Mr. Abdudekov from Kazakhstan to propose Amendment 37. You have the floor, sir.
Спасибо, уважаемые коллеги. Мы в данном пункте предлагаем добавить слово «дальнейшего» перед словом «обновление» и исключить слово «на киевской встрече Совета министров». Данное предложение обусловлено тем, что модернизация Венского документа не привязана к какому-либо СМИТ, а проводится на регулярной основе в рамках механизма «Венский документ плюс». В этой связи было бы корректнее не ограничивать данный процесс текущим годом и призвать ОБСЕ к продолжению работы в дальнейшем, в том числе в период процесса Хельсинки плюс 40. Спасибо.
Thank you. And now I call Mr. Guliyev from Azerbaijan to propose Amendment 38. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since our position is reflected in the amendment of Russian Federation, Amendment 36, I would like to withdraw our amendment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I give the word to Vilja. What's your opinion? Maybe someone wants to speak against. I'm too fast. No one? You see, I have right. Vilja, your
Good.
point.
Regarding Amendment 36, I'm sure our wording is stronger, and as this paragraph 11 is very essential and important, I stay for our original text. Amendment 37, I think I agree with Mr. Adirbekov that the process will be going further after Kiev and maybe after some other capital. So I agree, and we can adopt it. And regarding amendment of... is it withdrawn? Oh, thank you. Yes, because lowering of thresholds is one of the key points, and I would never agree to adopt it. First of all, Amendment 36, then 37.
Ready?
Yes.
Thank you. I shall now put Amendment 36 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 36 please raise your cards now? And those against? Any abstentions? It's defeated. Thank you. Then we go to number 37. And I should put the amendment 37 to the vote. Will those in favor of this amendment please raise your voting cards now? Against? It's adopted. And the number 38 was withdrawn. So now we go into amendment number 39, and I call Mrs. Glansham-Hunkler from Switzerland to propose amendment 39. You have the floor, madam.
Danke, Frau Vorsitzende. Die Hauptresolution der ersten Kommission wäre aus Sicht der Schweizer Delegation nicht komplett, wenn nicht auf die Bedeutung zwei weiterer wichtiger OSZE-Grundlagendokumente verwiesen wäre. Dieser Antrag erinnert daran, dass noch einiges im OSZE-Raum getan werden muss, um die Klein- und Leichtwaffenproblematik sowie diejenige überschüssiger Munition in den Griff zu bekommen. Es kann aber noch mehr getan werden, und die Schweizer Delegation ist der Ansicht, dass der Assistenzmechanismus weiterentwickelt und auch optimiert werden kann. Wir bitten Sie um Unterstützung dieser Ergänzung.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against? No one? Okay, then Vilja.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Glansman. Very important, very good amendment, number 39. But after this, we have amendment number 40. And wouldn't you be so kind to present it too, because it is to the same paragraph? And I think it's my personal opinion that maybe would be enough to adopt the first one, number 39, because text becomes very long, and the essential point has been expressed in the amendment 39.
Kann ich erklären?
Mrs. Glassman-Högli, would you like to introduce this amendment number 40 also?
Ja, die zweite die Ergänzung 40, da handelt es sich um um das OSZE-Dokument über Lagerbestände konventioneller Munition. Und hier möchte die Schweizer Delegation auch auf die Errungenschaften der OSZE hinweisen und auch darauf, dass weitere Bemühungen unternommen werden müssen, um diese politisch verbindlichen Verpflichtungen besser umzusetzen. Auch diese Ergänzung unterstützt den Schwerpunkt Stärkung der Gouvernanz im Sicherheitssektor, welcher der Schweizer Vorsitz ganz besonders dann auch nächstes Jahr weiter verfolgen möchte.
Does anyone want to speak against this amendment? No one? Okay, I give the word to Vilja again.
Thank you. If Ms. Glanzman stands for both, I agree, and let's adopt it.
Then we will go to vote. Those in favor, can you please put your voting cards on number 39 first? Thank you. Anyone against? Abstentions? It's adopted. And now we are going to vote on number 40. Those in favor of number 40, would you please raise the cards now? And those against? And abstentions? Okay, it's adopted. Thank you very much. And now we will go to amendment number 41, and I will call Mr. Kovalyev from Russia to speak about the amendment 41. You have the floor, sir.
Уважаемые коллеги, речь идет о необходимости привести режим контроля в соответствие с современными реалиями. На наш взгляд, такая необходимость и такой момент созрел, поэтому мы вносим эту поправку и просим ее рассмотреть и поддержать. Спасибо.
Thank you. And I also will call Mr. Dulitsi from Georgia to propose on amendment 42, because they are in the same paragraph. So please, Mr. Dulitsi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, my suggestion and view that this is absolutely contradictory what my distinguished Russian colleague raised right now, because we consider still that CFE Treaty is the real cornerstone of the European security and the real balance. So that's why I put kind of technical actually change in which we are just strengthening the wording in terms of strong encouragement, and we are putting urges all countries party to the treaty to honor their CFE obligations. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against amendment 41 or 42? You have the floor in that case. Uta, you have the floor, please.
I want to speak against amendment 41 because the current realities are that we don't have any control in conventional arms, and we need to restore conventional arms control and disarmament. And if we just bring these issues in line with current realities, we really get things worse. So in Vilja's paragraph, we say we must go on trying to restore conventional arms control, and I agree with this and want the amendment 41 deleted.
Thank you. And I give the floor to Vilja.
Regarding Amendment 41, Mr. Kovalov, your proposal is really disappointing, because for me it means an unreadiness of Russia to make progress with regards to the CFE Treaty. You are a very important person, and such proposal of your side you know, is putting some spell on the future, because reference to the realities, you know, sounds not very friendly, I must say. And of course, I suggest my colleagues not to agree with this proposal. I can say that I completely am for Amendment 42 of Mr. Dolidze. It's technical but good, and we can vote for it.
Thank you. I shall now put Amendment 41 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 41 please raise your voting cards now? And those against? Defeated. Abstentions? It's defeated. Thank you. And now I will go on to vote on Amendment 42. Will those in favor of Amendment 42 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And now it's 43. I now will call on Mr. Kovalev again from Russia to propose on Amendment 43. Sir, you have the floor.
Уважаемые господа председатели, уважаемые коллеги, честно говоря, я в растерянности в том смысле, что как-то уж вольно наши поправки и то, что написано, трактуется и переводится. Ничего подобного. Конечно, Россия за ДОВСЭ и всячески будем содействовать тому, чтобы открытость, транспарентность и контроль над добычными вооружениями были восстановлены в полном объеме. Поэтому наша поправка 43 направлена именно на это. Открытость и транспарентность. Вот ключевые слова, проблемы, которые мы пытаемся решить, в том числе и своими поправками. Спасибо.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against Amendment 43? Jutta, again, you have the floor.
I'm not against Amendment 43, but I think it should be in addition to the existing text in the resolution. So it shouldn't be a replacement, but an addition.
Thank you. And now, Vilja, you have the floor.
If it would be treated as replacement, it would weaken our text. But the proposal of Ms. Utatsap helps me, and maybe we could agree. Instead of rephrasing, we would add it to the existing text.
Point of order from Russia.
Уважаемые коллеги, конечно, мы согласны с этим конструктивным предложением УТы и признательны, что наша позиция и наша поправка будет учтена. Мы за.
Okay, we can treat this as an oral amendment if everyone in the auditorium here agree with this. But if anyone not agree, we can't use it. That's the way of dealing with it. Does anybody object to doing it in this way? No one? Okay. Then it's adopted as an oral amendment. Thank you. Okay, I call Mrs. Zapf from Germany to propose Amendment 44. You have the floor, Madam.
Ja, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen, ich denke, in dem Kontext, den wir jetzt diskutiert haben, wo wir einen großen Wert gelegt haben auf Abrüstung, ist es angebracht, auch noch mal auf die erfreuliche Entwicklung in der Generalversammlung der Vereinten Nationen hinzuweisen, die eine Open-Ended Working Group eingerichtet haben, wo ohne Zwang und mit großer Freiheit diskutiert werden kann, wie eventuell man zu einer Welt ohne Nuklearwaffen kommen kann. Etwas, was bisher immer gescheitert ist, weil wir nur bilaterale Abrüstungsschritte haben, aber nie eine Möglichkeit, über alle Facetten der zur Verfügung stehenden Instrumente sich auszutauschen. Unter anderem das Instrument, das auch in der Generalversammlung großen Anklang gefunden hat, nämlich eine Nuklearwaffenkonvention. Hier tut sich eine Chance auf, aber auch eine Chance für Parlamentarier, sich zu beteiligen an einer Diskussion, die weitreichende Folgen haben kann. Ich bitte um Unterstützung.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against amendment number 44? No one? And Vilja, what's your opinion?
I agree.
I then should put number 44 amendment to the vote. Those in favor of amendment 44, please raise your voting cards. And against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. I now call Mrs. Bradley from Norway to propose on amendment number 45. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you. The Vilnius Ministerial Council Decision 311, Elements of the Conflict Cycle, who is focusing on enhancing OSCE's capabilities in early warning, early action, dialogue facilitation, median support, and post-conflict rehabilitation. I think it's an important decision, and I think we must stress the need to implement it. And it is important to mention it in this context also.
Does anyone want to speak against? No one? Okay, Vilja, you have the floor.
I am for.
Thank you. I shall now put the amendment 45 to the vote. Will those in favor of amendment 45 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. It's adopted. And now we come to amendment 46, 47, 48, and 49. They are all in the paragraph 14, so we will be debating them together. Amendment number 50 is also to the paragraph 14, but Mr. Onen withdrew that amendment at our first meeting. If amendment 46 is adopted, then amendment 47, 48, and 49 will fall. If amendment 47 is adopted, then amendment 49 and 48 and 49 will fall. And I start by calling Mr. Gegemoya from Armenia to propose amendment 46. You have the floor, sir.
Спасибо. Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые коллеги. Эта поправка имеет принципиально важное значение по той простой причине, что она, по сути, соглашается с мандатом, выданным Минской группе ОБСЕ по урегулированию Нагорно-Карабахского конфликта. Хочу отметить, что 17 июня текущего года в Лох-Эрни в 5-й очередной раз президенты Америки, России и Франции приняли совместное заявление по Нагорно-Карабахскому конфликту и выразили свою готовность продолжить усилия по урегулированию конфликта. Сейчас этим пунктом мы подтверждаем их готовность. Иначе будет интернационализация конфликта, что ввергнет территорию Южного Кавказа в состояние, в котором оказались страны Северной Африки и Ближнего Востока. Спасибо.
Thank you. And I call Mr. Dulisi from Georgia to propose Amendment 47. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's very obvious, actually, why Georgia concerned about the occupation, I would say, of the territory, and necessity of the occupation, and of course, safe and dignified return of all IDPs and refugees. I mean, this is the wording of UN General Assembly, this is OSCE principles, and I would ask the delegates to support Georgian version of this para, which is more broader and more correct, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will call Mrs. Bradley from Norway to propose Amendment 48 and 49. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you. Unresolved conflicts need political solutions. That's why we should add the word political to make, to clarify this paragraph. So that's why I'm proposing Amendment 48. Amendment 49, also parties to conflicts must cooperate with the OSCE chairmanship in order to resolve conflicts. So this also will make the paragraph better.
Does anyone want to speak against any one of these amendments? Yes, Mr. from Azerbaijan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. First of all, in the first part of Armenian amendments, as you know, it was addressed as new elements as reconciliation. We all understand that reconciliation is a final goal in efforts to overcome enmity between conflicting parties. It is obvious that the problems caused by conflicts in those areas, such as occupation, illegal deployment of armed forces, millions of refugees and IDPs continue to impede achievement of peace. Therefore, reconciliation is possible only after resolution of the conflicts, and efforts should be first of all directed to the resolution, after which the reconciliation can be initiated. Also, in Astana summit, as you know, that the Minsk group co-chairs countries invited to just have some solution to the conflicts, and before the reconciliation, they also mentioned differently and many times that the solution to the conflicts must be found. This is why I do believe that this amendment should be deleted. With regard to the second part of the amendments, one issue should be emphasized. On numerous occasions, all the OSCE participating states and institutions, as well as the chairmanship, called on to fully engage and contribute to the resolution of the conflicts. We cannot achieve progress in resolution of conflicts if only call on the chairmanship to support the existing negotiated formats as outsiders. Thank you.
Thank you. I shall now put the Amendment 46 to vote. No, first Vilja. I'm sorry.
I think by adopting of this amendment, we would lose the spirit of cooperation. For 46, excuse me. Yes, because yes, it happens that some amendments are biased, and immediately other side protests. So I would suggest to defeat the Amendment 46 and go further. I support Amendment 47. Yes, I must say that amendments 48 and 49 could be adopted as well if we agree with the amendment of Mr. Dolidze. They are not in the contradiction, but if we adopt amendment 46, then everything falls.
Okay. Now I shall put amendment number 46 to the vote. Those in favor of Amendment 46, please raise your cards now. And those against? And abstentions? It's defeated. Now we are going on vote on number 47. Those in favor of amendment number 47, please raise your voting cards now. Against? Abstentions? We start from the beginning again. Those in favor of number 47, please raise your voting cards high. And those against, please raise your voting cards high. Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And now we go on amendment number 48. Those in favor of amendment 48, please raise your voting cards now. Against? And abstentions? Thank you. It's adopted. And now we go to number 49. Those in favor of amendment 49, please raise your voting cards now. Against? Abstentions? Thank you. It's adopted. Number 50 is withdrawn, and now we go to 51. And I would like to give the word to Mrs. Fry from Canada to propose on amendment 51. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I agree with what is being said here in paragraph 14, but I think that we now know, and it's been proven, that unless we have women involved at every part of a conflict, whether it is predicting or preventing the conflict, whether it is the violence that they achieve during the conflict, and the ability to rebuild states, both economically and socially, after a conflict, it is important. We will never achieve success. We will continue to ask for people to do certain things, but never achieve success unless we engage women in this. And so I'm asking that we recognize United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 by adding the extra paragraph.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against this amendment? No one? And Vilja, what's your opinion?
I agree.
Thank you. I will put this amendment into the vote.
Yep.
Those in favor of number 51, please raise your voting cards now. And those against? No. Okay.
Abstentions?
Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. Now we go to amendment 52, 53, and 54, because they are all in the same paragraph 15, so we will debate them together. If amendment 52 is adopted, then amendment 53 and 54 will fall. If amendment 53 is adopted, then amendment 54 falls. I start to call Mr. Gegemoya from Armenia to propose amendment 52. You have the floor, sir.
Вот уже третий раз вы говорите, если такая-то поправка будет принята, следующие будут отклонены. То есть искусственно создаются преграды на пути принятия поправки, хотя по содержательной части следующие за ними поправки абсолютно не имеют органической связи с поправками, которые предложила армянская делегация. Что касается этой поправки, видимо, в докладе, в резолюции произошла досадная ошибка. Ошибка в том, что бюро ОБСЕ в Ереване прекрасно функционирует. Об этом говорилось со стороны ряда высокопоставленных чиновников ОБСЕ, и ставить на один и тот же уровень деятельность бюро ОБСЕ в Ереване с деятельностью бюро ОБСЕ в Азербайджане, которая на грани закрытия, было бы принципиально неправильным, поэтому армянская делегация предлагает поправку, которая изложена под номером 52. Спасибо.
Thank you. And now I call Mr. Onen from Turkey to propose Amendment 53. You have the floor, sir.
Teşekkürler Sayın Başkan. Heyetimizin karara ortak sunucu olmasının önünde görülebilen en büyük sıkıntı, AGİT alan misyonlarını konu alan 15. paragrafında diğer hususlar meyanında Erivan ve Kişinev ofisiyle birlikte mütalaa edilen Bakü ofisinin muhafaza edilmesi ve güçlendirilmesi yönünde tavsiyede bulunmaktadır. Oysa Azerbaycan Dışişleri Bakanı'nın AGİT dönem başkanlığına iletilen Bakü ofisinin proje koordinatörlüğüne dönüştürülmesi yönündeki mektubu aksi yönde bir talep içermektedir. Bu itibarla anılan maddede to maintain and strengthen the OSCE offices ifadesine yer verilmesini öngörmekteyiz. Teşekkürler.
Thank you. And I will call Mr. Fitis from Cyprus to propose on Amendment 54. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam. The rationale behind our amendment is the following. Given the whole background of this delegate matter regarding requests by participating states of the area to upgrade or downgrade OSCE missions, which in the first case will also entail budget increases or decreases. We hold the view that in this period it is sufficient to maintain, without further strengthening, field missions at this stage, at least. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I want to hear the rapporteur's view. You have the floor. Oh, always. Does anyone want to speak against this? Yes. Viola from Germany, you have the floor.
Ich glaube, wir haben in dem Bericht gesehen, wie wichtig die Büros sind in den einzelnen OSZE-Staaten. Und ich glaube, wir haben auch mitbekommen, wie wichtig eine stärkere Unterstützung, auch eine personelle und eine finanzielle Ausstattung dieser Büros in den einzelnen Mitgliedstaaten ist. Und deswegen würde ich sehr bitten, daran festzuhalten, an der jetzigen Formulierung, sie weiter auszubauen und zu unterstützen. Denn insbesondere über diese OSZE-Büros, über die Field Offices sind wir in der Lage, dort auch vor Ort zu wirken und unsere Netzwerke weiter auszubauen. Ich halte das für ein ganz wichtiges Instrument der OSZE.
Thank you. And now, Vilja.
To be very honest, I would support the amendment of Mr. Gegamyan, despite of the fact that I don't agree with what was told by Mr. Gegamyan about OSCE office in Baku. I think that really the wording of Mr. Gegamyan proposed to paragraph 15 maybe makes some order, brings some order to the subject and doesn't contradict to my wish, what was my original intention. And I would ask other gentlemen agree that Armenian formulation is good. And we can go to some compromise and adopt it.
Then I shall put the Amendment 52 to the vote. Will those no? Point of order.
Kann ich denn noch mal die Meinung der Berichterstatterin zu dem Amendment 53 und 54 bekommen?
Entschuldigung, das ist Amendment Number 52.
Yes, what do you think about 53 and 54?
I think in case we agree with amendment number 52, they would fall. It's what I'm going to say.
Okay, now we put 52 to the vote. Those in favor of Amendment 52, please raise your voting cards now. Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And now we go to Amendment 55, and I call Mrs. Bradley from Norway to propose Amendment 55. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you. It had been said many good things about the OSCE field operations, and I think they are important parts of our organization. And I myself have had the pleasure to visit the field operation in Tajikistan and see the good work they are doing. And that's why I also want us in this draft resolution also to focus on that it is important to re-establish the OSCE presence in Belarus.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against? Mr. Kominsky from Belarus, sorry.
Уважаемые коллеги, позиция белорусской стороны относительно непродления мандата Офиса ОБСЕ в Минске неоднократно доводилась до сведения ОБСЕ и государств-участников. Мы констатируем, что полевая миссия ОБСЕ свои задачи в Беларуси выполнила, и необходимости ее восстановления нет сегодня. Спасибо. Мы против этой поправки.
Thank you. And the rapporteur?
This amendment underlines the importance of OSCE field operations, what was said by Mr. Onen before. Yes, and it brings what was not adopted before in a more broad view and way. So I would suggest to adopt it.
I shall now put Amendment 55 to the vote. Those in favor of Amendment 55, please raise your voting cards now. Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. Now, Amendments 56 and 57 are both to the paragraph 17, so we will debate them together. If Amendment 56 is adopted, then Amendment 57 will fall. And I first give the word to Mr. Guliev from Azerbaijan to propose Amendment 56. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As you all know, it is about 20 years that is going on the negotiations over finding the solution for Armenian Azerbaijan Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. But unfortunately, so far there was any result. The Minsk Group co-chairmanship doesn't produce any results. This is why we hope that to involve all participants of the Minsk Group into the Armenian-Azerbaijan Nagorno-Karabakh conflict settlement process through the Minsk Group meeting in its full format will bring back a spirit of involvement and the OSCE interest in the process. It will increase chances to find out the soonest right decision for the settlement of the conflict and contribute to the atmosphere of trust and security in the region. In this regard, we propose the rephrase paragraph 17 as follows. Calls on the OSCE Minsk Group co-chairs to urgently convene the Minsk Group meetings in its full format and at the highest level to assist the negotiations within the Minsk process and pave the way for tangible results. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I will call Mr. Gegamian of Armenia to propose Amendment 57. You have the floor, sir.
Прежде чем предложить поправку 57, я хочу сказать, что принятие поправки 56 чревато интернационализацией конфликта в регионе Южного Кавказа. И мы рискуем ввергнуть этот регион в пучину затяжных кровопролитных войн. Я категорически не согласен с мнением азербайджанского коллеги, который говорил, начал умалять роль Минской группы ОБСЕ. Пользуясь случаем, я выражаю свою благодарность президентам США, России и Франции, благодаря усилиям которых уже 20 лет территория находится в состоянии относительного мира, несмотря на то, что ежегодно около $3 миллиардов Азербайджан тратит на вооружение. Принятие этой поправки преследует одну единственную цель – подключить к переговорному процессу Турцию, а мы знаем, Турция и Азербайджан – это две нации, одна нация, два государства. Спасибо.
Does anyone want to speak against Amendments 56 or 57?
He will speak against
Yes,
57.
I guess you will speak about 56. That's true?
Да.
Mr.
Я убедительно прошу своих коллег по парламентской ассамблее ОБСЕ очень внимательно отнестись к поправке 56. Она таит в себе угрозу возобновления широкомасштабной войны в регионе Южного Кавказа. Минская группа ОБСЕ в лице президентов Америки, России и Франции 5-й раз подряд настоятельно призвала конфликтующие стороны прийти к мирному урегулированию. И 5-е по счету совместное заявление, оно очень выгодно отличается от предыдущих 4 в силу своей конкретики и в силу убедительных ссылок именно на документы заключительного акта Хельсинкского соглашения 1975 года. Я прошу отклонить эту поправку. В случае отклонения, естественно, 57-я поправка, которую выдвинули мы снимаем с обсуждения. Спасибо.
And now I give the word to Mr. Guliev from Azerbaijan to speak about 57.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is very regretful that our Armenian colleagues next time made attempts to mislead the audience by making propaganda against my country. And it is about our budget, military budget. It is about our initiative to call the Minsk Group in full format. I think this is not true. First of all, our military budget, according to the GDP per capita, which is in the line with international legal norms and practices. Second, our initiative to call the Minsk Group in full format doesn't mean that as Armenians try to introduce, we want to do something in the wrong way. The 11 members of the Minsk Group has a right to come together to discuss the results and the outcomes, all weaknesses, strengths, why the so far Minsk Group failed to achieve some concrete results. This is our right to make some, let's say, proposal. This is why I call on Armenian colleagues to refrain from making wrong propaganda against my country.
Thank you. And now it will be very interesting to hear Vilja about this. You have the floor.
You know, I'm recalling my ambassador to Permanent Council again that I would rephrase him that to make paragraphs on Nagorno-Karabakh is a job of a golden value because it's really a very difficult thing to bring these two nations to the table. I would say, gentlemen, both your amendments would bring some precondition into the negotiation process. It's why I would prefer the original wording. Of course, this wording, original wording, is more neutral and would be better to stand on it.
Thank you. And now I shall put the Amendment 56 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 56 please raise their voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's defeated. Now, I put 57 on the vote. Those in favor of Amendment 57, will you please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's also defeated. Thank you. Now we will go into Amendment 58, 59, and 60, 61, because they are all in the paragraph 18, so we will debate this together. I call Mrs. Bratley from Norway to propose on Amendment 58 and 61. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you. Amendment 58 is just more precise wording. It's to replace the word Geneva process with Geneva international discussions. Amendment 61 is about pointing out the importance to also engage civil society in work on confidence and security building measures.
Thank you. And I call Mr. Dulitsi from Georgia to propose on Amendment 59. You have the floor, sir. Mr. Dulitsa.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is about the, we have in the para, actually, 18, in the last sentence, actually, urges the OSCE to continue its work in confidence security building measures in Georgia. And we proposing between the Russian Federation and Georgia towards the deoccupation of the territories of Georgia. Because this is a war between Russia and Georgia in 2008, and the occupation also has been mentioned in the previous para, so nothing new, Madam Chair, in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Kolkulgul from Turkey, you can propose on amendment number 60.
Teşekkürler Sayın Başkan. Tasarının Gürcistan'a ilişkin 18. maddesindeki welcomes the decrease of security-related incidents and the work of the Agni incident prevention and response mechanisms, and urges the OSCE to continue its work on confidence building measures in Georgia şeklindeki yazıma Abhazya tarafının onay vermemesi nedeniyle uzun süredir toplanamayan Gali IPRM'i destekler bir ifadenin de eklenmesini önermekteyiz. Teşekkürler.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against number amendment 58, 59, 60, or 61? The Russian Federation have the word. Please.
Уважаемые коллеги, мы все, выступая, говорили о том, что докладчик выстроил очень точный и взвешенный, сбалансированный документ. И это не просто дежурные слова, это не комплиментарность с нашей стороны, а констатация той огромной работы, которая проведена. Сейчас вот эту работу, которая была сделана с большим профессионализмом и с большим чувством такта и вкуса, мы попытаемся поправкой 59 опровергнуть этот тезис. Поэтому, конечно, Российская Федерация категорически против, причины совершенно очевидны и понятны, не буду на них останавливаться и повторяться, а вот поправку 60 мы бы, конечно, поддержали, потому что она направлена как раз на консолидацию усилий по стабилизации ситуации. Спасибо.
Thank you. And Vilja, what's your opinion?
I have no problems with Amendment 58, 60, 61, all of them are very clear. Regarding the Amendment 59, I don't feel myself being able to teach Mr. Dolidze because they are really experiencing a difficult time. I understand the point of view of Russian Federation, but I think having no possibility to arrange here a broader debate, we simply should go through and step by step and vote for each of these amendments.
Thank you. I shall now put Amendment 58 to the vote. Will those in favor of number 58 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And I shall also put the Amendment 59 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 59 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's defeated. It's defeated, yes. Thank you. I shall now put Amendment 60 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 60 please raise their voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. I shall now put Amendment 61 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 61 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And now we go into Amendment 62, yes. And I call Mr. Dolidze from Georgia to propose on Amendment 62. So you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, again, I will present it instead of Mr. Dolidze. Here are, I guess, the universal principles which are described in many international documents and treaties. So I think sovereignty, territorial integrity, and non-violability of internationally recognized borders of the participating states. So I think it's a very universal and general, and I think it could add some value to the paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against number 62? Yes? From Armenia?
Мы хотели бы не то, что выступить против, а добавить, учитывая то, что наша сессия проходит под девизом «Хельсинки плюс 40», было бы правильнее, если наряду с упоминанием этих пунктов добавить еще и право наций на самоопределение, ибо в Хельсинкском заключительном акте особо отмечено о равной ответственности этих принципов урегулирования международных конфликтов. Тогда это будет действительно в духе Хельсинкского заключительного акта. Спасибо.
Thank you. And Vilja, what's your opinion?
When we are accounting well-known international principles, no one of them can be deleted. And in the Amendment 62, one principle of which was mentioned by Mr. Gagamian was deleted. So I could only propose as an oral amendment to support proposal of Armenian colleague and to put this principle, one principle of self-recognition, self-determination, self-determination, and then as oral amendment it could be adopted. Because all principles should be mentioned.
And then again, if we will have an oral amendment.
Point of order?
Yes. Georgia?
May I intervene? Thank you. So this is a particular amendment proposed by Mr. Dolidze. So I fully agree that it's also right, which was proposed by Armenian colleague, but maybe we can find also other place for that. If it's oral amendment, it could be placed also in other texts too, if you agree on that. But it's amendment which proposed by our delegation that should stay as it is.
Okay, then I understand. We don't have an agreement for an oral amendment, so I'll just go for the voting. And now I shall put the Amendment 62 to the vote. Will those in favor of Amendment 62 please raise your voting cards now? And against? Abstentions? It's adopted. Thank you. And now we're going to Amendment 63, and I call Mr. Tereserli from Georgia to propose on Amendment 63. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment is really reminding us that we already adopted two documents. It was in Oslo and in Monaco about return of refugees and IDPs on their spaces of their living and places of their living. Should be voluntary and in dignity. So this is one of the main negative results of the war. So we'd like to ask our colleagues to support that.
Thank you.
It's an implementation of already adopted documents.
Okay. Does anyone want to speak against this? No one? Vilja, what's your opinion?
I agree.
Thank you. I shall put Amendment 63 to the vote. Will those in favor of number 63 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Abstentions? It's adopted. And about Amendment 64, I will call Mr. Ashimbaye from Kazakhstan to propose Amendment 64. You have the floor, sir.
Уважаемые коллеги, наша поправка не касается концепции пункта 20. Мы просто предлагаем убрать излишнюю детализацию, а также подчеркиваем необходимость международного сотрудничества по обеспечению безопасности в Афганистане после 2014 года. Спасибо.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against? Uta, Germany.
I would like to propose the same thing as before, that we don't rephrase paragraph 20, but add the amendment 64 to paragraph 20, please.
And Vilja, what's your opinion?
I'm very grateful to Ms. Zapp for this compromise, and if you, Madam Chair, would allow, I propose it as an oral agreement for our consensus.
And then again, we have to be all included in this. Is it anyone who not want an oral amendment? No one? So everybody agrees. Thank you very much. Yes, then it's adopted already. And Amendment 65. I will call Mr. Mariani from France to propose Amendment 65. You have the floor, sir.
Oui, Madame la Présidente, il s'agit toujours de renforcer l'engagement de l'OSCE en Asie centrale. Et donc mon amendement 65, qui est le deuxième, traduit ma conviction que l'OSCE peut être un vecteur de cette coopération régionale indispensable grâce à ses missions de terrain et aux projets qu'elle met en œuvre dans les trois dimensions, l'appropriation locale des initiatives engagées étant toutefois la garantie de leur succès.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak against? And the rapporteur?
It is a very valuable amendment, but can I dare to propose again oral? Under words organized crime, insert combating terrorism and violent extremism, because your amendment in this case, Mr. Mariani, would be more comprehensive. I agree with the amendment, but again, I'm asking, under the words organized crime, insert combating terrorism and violent extremism. Do you agree?
Then
Yeah.
oral. Yeah.
The
Tout à fait, Madame la
author
rapporteure.
agrees?
It's okay.
Yes.
This will also be an oral amendment, if you agree to it.
Any objection?
Any objection from Belgium? Yes. And
Je crois que ça ne veut quand même pas dire la même chose. Hein? Donc, l'extrémisme, ce n'est pas la même chose que le crime organisé, c'est tout à fait autre chose. Donc, je demande à la France ce qu'ils veulent dire, mais ici, c'est le crime organisé et c'est sur toutes les matières et non pas l'extrémisme ou le...
And then I understand there is no agreement about the oral amendment, and then I go to vote on the amendment as it is in the text now. Will those in favor of Amendment 65 please raise your voting cards now? Against? Is it against Russia? No. Georgia? No? Okay. Abstentions? Okay, it's adopted. And now we have to close this session, and we will meet again, but not in this. Yes, it's the same. It's the same. It's here, and it's 4:30. So we will meet again here at 4:30, and this session is closed. Thank you very much.